This is Shades of Content, a podcast created for and featuring women of color who create and distribute content as a means to tell stories to the masses. I'm your host, Patrice Camo, owner of CAMPspace, and I'm passionate about giving diverse women creators a space to be awesome. Let's go.
Hello. Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here. Happy 2021. It is such a blessing to get through 2020 because 2020. That's all I got to say about that. But I'm so excited to be here for another episode of Shades of Content, the first one of the new year. And this episode is a little different because I have two guests. One of them is a man. Okay. And, you know, I'll introduce them, but these two people, one of the guests today is someone who I've known for a good amount of time. We worked together. She supported my business. I've supported her business. We have pretty parallel lives, I feel like, and we just hit it off. And so that is Mrs. Nikki Osei-Barrett, the owner of Osei PR, a fashion and lifestyle public relations agency. But she's also a co-founder of District Motherhood, which is a community for Black millennial moms. And it's more than a community. Like me just saying it's a community, I feel like I'm doing it a disservice, but Nikki's amazing. And so she'll talk a little bit more about herself, but we also have Ernest B. James. Mm-hmm. And I just realized I should be calling you EJ.
You can call me EJ.
Okay. Thank
yes,
you, EJ.
that's it.
And EJ, I learned about him. I was on online class for Brittany Hennessy's influencer book, which y'all know I love that book. I've talked about it before. She was doing these in-person before COVID, in-person workshops, and Ernest was one of the speakers because he owns an influencer management agency called Noir Management. Yep. And I found out about him then, and I was just blown away because aside from him being an African-American man, strong, well-spoken, I mean, he was just extremely honest. And I feel like when you're in this world of PR, content, influencing, things be just not always 100, right?
Filters.
Literally and
all
figuratively,
filters.
all filters through the way things happen because God be out here just orchestrating shit. We are all here right now in camp.
We are at camp. You came to camp.
I reached out to Ernest legit maybe I think it was during the pandemic. I remember I was running. I was on my run,
sliding
getting
the
rid of my
DMs.
kids. I hit him up and he took a little while to respond.
Definitely took a little while.
Because he's busy. He's booked and busy.
I will leave you on scene. Not read, but seen. I will leave you on scene in that DM. Like, we'll get back to that.
We're going to get back. And he got back to me and we could never work it out. But him and Nikki have a relationship and they decided to link up here and just things always work out. So this is going to be a very, I think, fun episode. And I think so. Let me give you guys a little background. As you may know, I was a publicist and I still do a little PR work for about 10, 15 years. And as a publicist, like I've worked that influencer space. I've worked pitching media. I've worked social media branding. Like it all relates. So to have Nikki here to give some of that insight behind the scenes, I feel like will be really helpful to you guys, the listeners. But then, right, who doesn't want to be someone working with brands and making money from being themselves, right? Like we all have influence, which I say all the time. We all have influence, but there's a method. You can't just be out like it.
You can't just be out here perpetrating that you're an influencer.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is a strategy, there is a timeline, like all these things work together and EJ has perfected that. And now he's helping so many amazing Black women who all of y'all follow, I'm sure, and we'll talk about it, help them get that coin. Okay. So them two owning agencies that really do the work behind the scenes that allows you all to see all this Black woman magic, Black business magic, beauty magic. I just felt like it was important to start the year off with that because I think like we talked about filters.
Yep.
Everything is what you see. But y'all really got to understand that so much goes on behind the scenes.
It's what you don't see.
It's what you don't see that matters.
Yep. We're curated.
Right?
Yep.
So I think that's why this episode is going to be super important for it to be the first one of the new year. Hopefully it allows you to think a little differently about how you're attacking your content, who you have in your team, okay? How professional you may be or may not be. Like all these things work together. And so without further ado, thank you guys for tuning into the episode. Let's get with it. So Nikki and EJ, if you can give me just kind of a brief synopsis of who you are and what you do and why you do it. That's important.
Okay, well, Patrice, thank you for having me. I'm just so excited to even be here. This whole podcast recording is kind of impromptu, but yeah.
We made it happen.
We made it happen. So a little bit about me, Nikki Osei-Barrett. I am a fashion, beauty, and luxury lifestyle publicist. I cater to elevated beauty, fashion, and luxury brands, and I think that's like the difference there.
Come on, elevated.
Elevated, of course, always elevated. So, I like to work with brands that can secure a feature in Marie Claire, that can secure a feature in Vogue, those that are capable of just doing so. So I have been doing PR for 10 years. It'll actually be 10 years next year that I have been owning and operating Osei PR. I launched Osei PR in 2011. I was actually an intern at that time in New York, graduated from Bowie State in Maryland, moved to New York in 2010. I wanted to live this whole Devil Wears Prada fashion PR lifestyle. I mean, the movie had just come out. The movie had just come out. I feel like I'm a product of the hills and the city.
Yes.
Cal on Earth.
You was like DVS in the sample closet.
All of that. I am leaving Maryland and I'm going to New York and I'm going to be a fashion publicist. Peace. So I moved to New York in 2010 and I definitely did live that Devil Wears Prada lifestyle. But after working and interning at all these amazing and prestigious PR agencies, I worked with Williamson PR, I worked with Red Light PR, I worked with PR Consulting. I landed my dream job at the 8th floor and worked with so many dope brands like Custo Barcelona.
Receipts.
Receipts. Of course, there's always receipts. Sachin and Bobby. I launched Shop Style. So definitely have a background. But after working and interning with these companies, I'm like, there are no girls that look like me.
Right.
The opportunities are extremely limited for girls that look like me. I'm always the token. I was kind of sick of being the token. Actually, prior to me landing that job at the 8th floor, I was interning and working full time. I was commuting from Maryland to New York every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm like getting ahead of myself. So when I moved to New York, I had a 10-year-old son. I had my oldest son when I was 16 years old. When I moved to New York, I was 25. So I was a 25-year-old intern. Okay. All of
listen.
It really doesn't matter. I'm so thankful for the experience and opportunity.
A lot of people won't do that.
They won't do that, and they also don't have.
That's why I'm like, that shit don't matter.
Yeah, it does, and they also don't have the support to do that either.
Right.
I was truly supported by Jalen's dad, who's not my husband. But when I started interning, or when I moved there, I was an intern, and nobody would hire me. I was literally interning, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, full time, okay? And then would come home every weekend, back to the DMV, back to PG County, Howard County, Maryland, and then see my family and then go back during the week. And nobody would hire me. And I'm like, what is the tea? I'm doing the work. I'm doing a great job. There was one experience where I was working at a company or interning at a company, and they literally hired a girl, hired her full time to be their assistant account executive. And she had graduated from school 2 weeks prior. And I'm like, hold up, I've been here for 6 months.
I know the process. I know the process.
I've done desk sides. I've accompanied you to meetings. I've done all the things. You really aren't going to hire me? And it broke my heart. It shattered my spirit. So at that point, I was like, okay, well, sis, maybe you should just go ahead and start your own shit. Right. Because they don't have
dreams and God laughs.
Literally.
That's what they say.
I'm like, my goal was to work for this amazing, prestigious New York PR agency, and they weren't hiring me. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to start my own agency. So I'm gonna be that, and I'm going to create opportunities for other girls that look like me. So 2011, I launched Osei PR. It was kind of sort of a hobby. In the meantime, I still worked with PR Consulting. I still worked with the 8th floor, worked with all these amazing brands, contracted my services out. I became the fashion and beauty director for a PR agency that's now defunct, but it was based in the DMV area. I spearheaded all of their beauty relations, their fashion relations, and their sales. So I also do sales as well, retail placement for brands. It's an underground service. I don't really say too much about it, but I do also have that capability.
Say it now, sis.
Oh, it's a real ass thing. I have definitely secured accounts at Nordstrom, Bandier, Anthropologie.
Because people say they sell
Urban
things,
Outfitters.
but they sold 2 things.
Wow. Two different things. So if you want a retail account, we could talk about it. It's going to cost you, but that's an underground service. But so after working with that company for a little bit, I stayed with them for about 3 years, and I was like, Nikki, why don't you just operate Osei PR full time.
Right.
So August 31st, 2016, I decided to step out on faith. Thanks to my friends and family, like, sis, you got this. You've been doing this for other people for so long. You can do this on your own. Went full time with Osei PR, and it's been great ever since. Yeah. Haven't looked back. I have worked with so many amazing brands. I'm just so thankful when I think about the business that I've attracted. Mm-hmm. I've worked with like the Brown Beauty Co-op. I launched Marjani Beauty. I am the agency of record for Ipara Skincare, which is a premier luxury prestige beauty skincare line that first debuted in the U.S. at Barney's, New York. And I spearheaded that. So yeah, next year will actually be 10 years since I launched Osei PR, and it's just wild to even say that.
Yeah.
But 4 years operating Osei PR full time.
Wow.
Yes.
Get it,
and
girl.
You have 3 kids.
Oh yes, I have 3 kids.
You and your husband have 3 kids.
We have 3 kids. We've been together since we were 15 years old.
I mean,
there's Teen Bay, there's Prince Nick, and there's Fancy Faye. And yeah, I'm just doing my best as a wife, mom, and entrepreneur.
I love it.
That part.
Well, I ain't got all that. But no, I've always been
You
in.
got a lot, though.
I do. I've been in PR marketing probably, oh my God, like 12, 13 years. And it's always been in elevating, amplifying, and creating narratives for brands. So left DC, born and raised, gorgeous Prince George's.
Okay.
Ride or die. You know, went to FIT in New York. And after FIT, like, you know, that was right around the time of the market crash. And I was just like, I just need a job in PR. It don't matter where I'm doing it. Went down to Fort Misery, or Fort Myers, Florida, as it's known. And I worked in the PR department for Chico's, White House Black Market, and Soma. And that was around the time that for Chico's, Debbie Phelps was wearing Chico's every time Michael Phelps won all of those like 7 awards. Got to see firsthand how you amplify or how you capitalize on cultural moments. You know, people was talking about like, oh my God, Michael Phelps is winning all these awards, and they're panning to his mom and she's wearing Chico's. So we did a commercial with her. It was like I could see the power of PR and how people connected with her just through clothes. And then Michelle Obama was, of course, on The View, and they asked her about her dress, and it was White House Black Market. So I was a part of that press blitz of like, you know, our forever first lady wearing my client on a national show. And it's just like, so always I've been, you know, a connector and a communicator. And in 2012, moved back to New York because I was just like, yeah, Florida's cute, but if I really want to be this like fab PR guy, like it ain't gonna be built on the Florida. So moved back to New York in 2012 and worked at LaForce & Stevens, which is a huge communications agency. I helped launch, you know, Eva Longoria for The Limited, worked red carpet for Target collabs, oversaw G-Star and the announcement. You know, just
all the receipts.
You know, it's a humble brag, but like I worked hard for these. And, you know, took a chance and branched out and actually left LaForce in 2016. And in 2017 started working at APA PR, which is a boutique agency that was built inside of APA, which is a larger entertainment agency. And what they were doing at that time was basically kind of taking the narrative of PR, and as opposed to going to magazines or traditional media outlets, they were going straight to influencers, people that could immediately have an ROI on a story that you were telling. And that, for me, like I had always seen the power of social media, the power of bloggers and influencers, but I had never seen it from a standpoint of these are the first line of defense for getting a message out there. I mean, we know about street teams with records and like the guerrilla marketing aspect of like, yo, just get everybody t-shirts and flyers. Like they gotta come to the club. But that shit works. Like people see that, and then one person tells somebody, and it's like, oh, it's a moment. There's the virality of a campaign. There's validity or notoriety. And so we worked exclusively with influencers, and it was amazing. And then I was fired or let go, or whoever is telling the narrative. And at that time, God, as we've been saying, like you will always know the divine intervention in your life, because I hated my job. I worked with nothing but white women. It was microaggressions day in and day out. And as a black gay man, I'm like, wait, I'm everybody's flavor. Yeah, right. The girls love me. Like I'm Gucci. Right. But they did not take to me. And for the first time in my, at that point, 11-year career, I never understood why I just didn't fit in, and why I was seen as aggressive or, loud, or just like all the things that never. And at that point I was like, right, you're a black man. So just because you're a gay black man, you're still a black man. Absolutely. And there are people that will not accept you no matter what spaces and places you are. And so right around, I think I was let go on a Monday. That Friday, I kept saying to myself, I'm going to have to do something else because I can't take this anymore. And I was floating around the idea of when we were doing a lot of the influencer engagement at my last agency, most of the agencies that had traditionally represented influencers, there were no people of color on their roster. So I would say, hey, I'm launching this campaign, send me a roster of talent. And they would send me a bunch of white girls. And I'm like, I just know from PR, if you're trying to impress a client, get them some shit that look like them or that you know they like. I'm a black man. I'm a dark-skinned black man. So I want to see brown girls. I want to see girls that I know are black. Don't give me light-skinned. Don't give me Spanish, this racially ambiguous look. Right. I need to know she a sister. And a lot of them didn't have it. And so I would have to text friends that had high social followings that I knew were influencers and be like, what are your rates? And the question or the response I would always get back was, what do you mean? I'm like, well, when you're posting that so-and-so sent you this box of product, how much are you charging for that? I'm not. Hold up. You're not. Hell no. Because I can't go into Saks or Barney's and put my shoes on their shelf.
No, right.
Without paying for that, right. Or them investing in me. So your social platform is like a retail shop. It's a place of advertisement. No, you don't get real estate on here without paying for this.
Absolutely.
And so that kind of like really sped up for me this idea that there needs to be an agency, someone that's giving agency to black creatives in this space, because we are the most influential, that's going to represent them and present them to brands and really help them authentically engage with brands, where it's like, we're not just tapping into you because you're a black woman or a black man, but we know and value your influence. And so help us tell the brand narrative or the brand experience to your audience in the most authentic way possible. And so that's how we have, Noir Management. And I do it because I know that I was put on this earth to be of service, and not to be of service to be someone's slave or anything, but I am to be of service to a purpose greater than myself. And to me, I feel that that purpose is black women. I just feel like as a society, they're never given their just due. So if I, being raised by 3 black women, can give back, and be of service to them in a traditional sense or a social sense of, you have high following on social media, let's get you some coins, sis. This brand loves you, let's get you paid for that. If I can be of service to black female entrepreneurs and creatives in that sense, then I've served my life's purpose.
EJ, who are some of the influencers you've worked with or are working with right now?
So I'm currently working with Kayla Walker. I've worked with Nicole Kane of XO Nicole. I've worked with Carlene Roy of the Vanity Group. I've worked with Julie Wilson, who's director of beauty at Cosmo. I've worked with Melissa Butler of the Lip Bar. I've worked with Jessica Nabongo, who's the first black woman to travel to all 195 countries.
Catch Me
If You Can. I've worked with Danae B, who's an amazing dancer and has danced for Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion. So I've worked with some really dope female, like Renee Blewett, the founder and executive producer of In Her Shoes and the Netflix documentary. She did that. I have been blessed to be able to work with some amazing, not even just creators, but just storytellers and brand cultural narrative shifters. I feel like all my clients shift the narrative around certain cultures, and that could be around the culture of beauty or the culture of entrepreneurship or the culture of media, but I get to help facilitate what that narrative shift is, and that's what I love.
What I would love to hear, and I think I want to really get into the nitty gritty, so the first question really is, what are influencers or people, women who are trying to elevate their brands, they're trying to get the follower count up because they want to reach out to the targets, they want to reach out to these brands that can obviously pay them, but also share them with their maybe non-black audiences. What are they doing wrong now? If there were 2 or 3 tips that you could give to the 6,000 follower mom of 2 who's working, is trying to blog, what are some of the things?
Not tapping into Nikki.
Right?
Listen, because people think nationally, you got to be known nationally in order to do this thing. But it's Carlene always said, you got to be the hometown hero. If your next door neighbor doesn't know what you do you really do it? So many people try to do these things outside of their hometown where it's sis, The people next door to you need to know what you do. So if there is, like in DC, if there is the Momfrance, are you reaching out to the founders of Momfrance and saying, hey, I'd love to be on a panel. I don't even need to be paid, but I want to be on panels. And so do you have anything available? Here's my social following. Or, hey, I'd love to promote this conference. Please give me some graphics. Please give me a discount code. Like, you're hustling backwards when you're trying to go to Target, when you got a local shop down the block and they need content. So if you help build that local shop up, and that local shop gonna be like, this is a local woman or guy that's in our neighborhood. Let's support the community. We'll give you free clothes if you create content. Why wouldn't you test and learn with them? Like, fuck up the content. Like, be like, ooh, this didn't really work. This didn't really work. I would rather fail with a local little moment, a small bag,
on a national
than fumble
platform.
a big bag.
My goodness.
Because if you fumble that big bag, you're gonna fumble all big bags.
And it's too many eyes on you there at that point.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that, because like, really start where you are with what you have. And we were just talking about overthinking it. Like, we want to be so big, like you said, go to the Targets and things like, yo, use your iPhone 5, use your iPhone 10. You don't need a production team. You don't need all these things. Just start creating the content. And I also love that you said, you know, check in with Nikki, check in with the Momfrance, whatever, because people reach out to us and say, well, do you guys want to chapter District Motherhood, or why don't you guys do X, Y, and Z? Simona and I think that District Motherhood has been so successful because we focus on the DMV area. We're not trying to do it be anything.
People want it. They're yearning for it everywhere else.
Exactly. They want to move to DC, to Maryland, to Virginia because of what Simona and I have created here. Our focus was never in New York, Atlanta, everywhere else. Now that we have grown and like established ourselves, we're 4 years, almost 5 years in the game with District Motherhood. It's like, okay, we may host a mommy on block in Atlanta if you're lucky. Maybe we'll come there. You know what I mean? But like, start where you are, what you have roots at home. Establish yourself there. And then begin to grow. And then the other thing that I would say is be consistent. And I think all of us have an issue with consistency. Like starting and then stopping and then starting and then stopping, you're doing yourself a whole disservice, because you start and then you stop, but then you're like, okay, I'll pitch this brand. I'll pitch Target, or I'll pitch whomever, and then they'll check your platform. Oh, well, you haven't posted in 6 weeks. Your blog is outdated. You haven't posted on your blog in 6 months. You know what I mean? So consistency, even if you just say, I'm going to create content and post weekly. Stick to that.
Stick to that.
And
then you'll work up to those daily. Because what you don't know is that if you really want to be a successful influencer, you got to be posting a minimum of 6 times a day.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay?
Say that again.
6 times a day.
It's so much.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And you know, Sign Blake, she said something that
she kills it.
She kills the game, but she had a very there was a quote she said that basically discipline and consistency is what you have when motivation is in short supply.
Oh Lord, yes.
And there's sometimes I'll be like, I do not fucking want to do this.
But if you're consistent,
it's what I have to do. Because when I do the things that I have to do, when I don't want to do the things that I have to do, it's how my business will continue to churn. It's how I will create a narrative and a consistency that it's just like, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. And so you kind of got to I think people just have to understand that everything you do, if you want it to be, is a business.
It's a business.
And I think sometimes people forget that there is a business to influence. There's a business to PR. And they're like, I just want to throw parties. And I'm okay, well, people that throw parties are throwing parties to make money. So there's a business behind that. And what we're not, and I'm glad we're the three of us, we're always in the background. You don't see the background shit. The 3-month lead up to that one little moment that you
one little party,
opened the bar and was like, this was so cute.
But
you didn't see all that lead up. And you don't want to do that lead up. You just want to show up. Like, I don't do gym pop shit. I'm like, this kid's very general admissions. I'm going to need a DJ booth, a section, a velvet rope, wristbands, and a list. But I've worked hard for that. If you want to be general admissions, you want to be gen pop, you can go stand in line.
We don't wait.
But if you want to really do some shit that's going to move the needle, no matter if it's influencing or going to work, whatever you want to do in your career, you have to invest the time, because it ain't just a 9-to-5 thing. It's a constant,
and it's not 9 to 5 money. If you're doing it the right way.
You're right.
I would love to hear, as you both own agencies that focus on different things but work very closely together. You guys are working together. Individually, what do you look for in a client?
So for me, I receive inquiries all the time. Like, hey, I want to know about your PR services. I don't have a website yet. We haven't launched. I'm working on my logo.
Everybody want to post.
I'm just like, excuse me, you know,
I've even reached out to her, child.
You know
okay,
but you
what do you want me to promote?
What do you want me to promote?
And
what exactly am I publicizing?
Those people?
Where can I even look to see about the goods, products, and services that you offer?
Right.
You know what I mean? So before you even come to me, please have all of that intact. Your branding. I can't help you with your logo, your website. I mean, I can, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want brands to approach me that have an amazing product, all of their branding intact, ideally a luxury retailer or at least a thriving e-commerce. And yeah, as far as the clientele, I work with luxury fashion, beauty, and lifestyle brands, ready to wear, contemporary, prestige beauty, but also like products that are more accessible, sold at Target, and then lifestyle, whether it's wellness, whether it's consumer goods. Yeah, I just need you to be ready when you approach me, one, and then two, the budget needs to be together when you also approach.
And that's product placement. That's us sending your shit out.
That's just it.
That ain't no real pitching.
No real pitching. That's not true media relations. Nothing. You know what I mean?
That's a straight sample closet, and I'm gonna send your thing.
I think I worked at one agency, and they were like, "Yeah, for just product pitching, it's $7,000."
Exactly.
So like that's like the bare minimum. But as a boutique agency owner, the minimum, this is like coming from my mentor, she was like, yeah, Nikki, you shouldn't even be opening emails or communicating with anyone who doesn't have $2,500 or more. And Nikki, really, you're worth more than that. So we're talking budget for real, it's like $5,000 to work with me, retainer per month, per client.
Right. And retainer means
that you're paying me a flat fee up front at the top of the month. This is what it is. It's $5,000 before I do anything for you the rest of the month.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's it.
See, Nikki got that good business. She get her money up top.
Oh, I absolutely do. I'm sorry. I can't write a press release. I can't write a PR strategy. I can't do anything until I've been paid.
The business of management, I eat when my clients eat.
It's different.
So it is literally,
yes.
We on the hunt every day, right? So my clients, they don't, I can't, I could. There are some people that do it. I don't charge my clients a retainer to retain my services. But I'm emailing, I'm pitching, I'm putting documents together. So that's why I'm very clear about our commission is 20%. It's 10% for the administrative work that went up front into negotiating this deal, and then 10% for closing it. And, a lot of people will be like, well, we should do something where, you get a commission, like we need a reactive commission and a proactive. So proactive is like, we proactively went out to secure this deal for you. We acted as your agent. Right. Well, now you're talking about a different job, right? So let's break down the difference between a manager and an agent. A manager manages projects. Operative word, manage. I'm helping you manage your workflow. An agent is just going out to make sure you stay employed.
Exactly.
So the fact that you want me, I'm your manager. I am offering you a boutique, very what's the word? I can't even think of the word. Like, I'm giving you a boutique experience where I'm giving you management and agent services. You're gonna give me my 20%, sis.
Absolutely.
Because if I'm managing your inbox and that deal came through your inbox, I'm still gonna get my 20% because I gotta go back and forth. And guess what? I have a lawyer on retainer. You're getting free legal services, and you don't think you're gonna cut me 20%?
Exactly.
You can read this contract yourself. And so when it comes to what I'm looking for,
we were all like, well.
And you know what I mean? And I'm very serious about the business that I do because because there are people out here taking advantage of Black creatives every day. And if I'm working on your behalf so you're not being taken advantage of, I know you don't think I'm gonna be taken advantage of. I'm fighting for you. I gotta fight for myself. And so when I'm thinking about clients, I'm thinking about somebody that has a point of view. I'm thinking about somebody that looks at this as a business. Oh my God, you would be surprised how many people slide in my DMs. I need a manager. I really want to take my business to the next level. You don't need a manager for that.
No, you don't.
What you need is an assistant.
Right.
You need a team because your content and your influence needs to already be at a level that a manager comes in to help manage. Okay, what are we doing with all this?
Exactly.
I'm like your contractor.
Exactly.
Okay? The agent is Lowe's. You're going to go get building blocks. The contractor going to sit down and say, are we building a den?
Wow, okay.
Are we building a garage? Are we building a guest cottage?
Yep.
Like, I'm there to help you figure out, what are we building with this career? What are we building with these jobs? Do you want to do this, to do this, to do that? That's what my job is. But if you don't even have the first part, which is a consistent content strategy or a consistent content calendar, I'm not here for that.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not here for that because my level of experience is I'm ready to like have conversations about, okay, well, who do we need to talk to so you can get your own product line? Who do we need to talk to that we can take your business offline? Because we don't own these social platforms. We do not. And every day, Instagram is bullshitting with these algorithms. They want you to do Reels because they don't want you to be on TikTok. They want you to do IGTV because they don't want you to be on YouTube.
Yep.
They don't want you to shop on Google because they want you to shop on Instagram and Facebook. So you got, when you're thinking about how these social platforms are constantly trying to keep you migrated to that one thing, what are you doing to own and communicate with your audience by yourself? It should be coming from me.com.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not www.instagram/@ because they own that. And if they take you down, all of your audience is gone.
Exactly.
And you've spent 10, 12, 15 years. Look at what's happening with Haley Page and JLM Couture. She's now in a battle with them because she wanted to renew her contract. And this happens in the media world when you have editors who have built social followings because they are the editor of Vogue or editor of Elle, and they have access to certain things, and now people follow them for that access. Now the media companies are like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm gonna need 20% because technically, would you have been as influential if you didn't have this platform?
Absolutely.
And the same with JLM. Their thing is, yes, your name is Haley Page, you're our designer, but because you worked with us, you've been on Say Yes to the Dress. People are following you because of this. Your 1.7 million is technically because of us. And now they have banned her from using her own personal platform. She can't have any other design names that are Haley Page. Like, you got to think about this. Your IP, which is intellectual property, you must protect that at all costs. Because when you put that shit on social and you see companies repost your shit, yes, they didn't ask, but you put it on the internet.
Right.
It's fair game, man.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm so clear about the people that I work with are people that are protecting their intellectual property in a sense of you have a point of view. So if that shit is seen anywhere, people are going to be like, what's going on? This looks very much like. And now I'm here to help manage that narrative and that conversation around, well, let's take it off social and let's do virtual events. Well, let's take it off social and now you have a TV show or a YouTube series.
Your newsletter at the bare minimum.
At the bare minimum.
Yeah.
You have a website, a landing page. So, I mean, it's all about, at the end of the day, it's still business. And people don't want to hear about the business, but that's what I'm excited about. You want to be Michael Jordan or you want to be the person that signs Michael Jordan's checks? I'm trying to sign the checks.
Listen.
Do you guys think, both of you, do you feel like maybe the business conversation is the question mark, or maybe it's not coming, maybe it's not being taken from you well because you're Black?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think about conversations I have with my mom when she tries to tell me certain things. I'm like, but you ain't had it. So how you gonna tell me about something? But someone can tell you because they've experienced it, right? They don't have to have been successful at it to know that here's a way that you can fail.
Right.
So I don't know what success looks like because clearly I wasn't successful in that one thing. But I do know what failure looks like. So don't do this thing.
Don't do that.
Exactly.
And I think, how many of us have successful business owners in our family? A lot of us are first generation entrepreneurs.
My mother doesn't know what I do to this day. Right. She's like, you're doing what? You're at home. But because I'm at home and I'm not like getting up, getting dressed every day, walking with my briefcase and whatever, she does not think that I'm successful and all of that. And I'm like, Mother, do you understand that I'm like about to make 6 figures at home by myself? At home.
But we have to think about and I always say, what's their reference point? Like, if your reference point is always working for someone and having this, then I wouldn't expect you to understand what I'm doing because you've never seen this. And I'm okay with you not having a reference point of what I'm doing, but what I'm not okay with is you shitting on what I'm doing because you don't understand
it.
Right.
Like, just be like, that's some new shit for me.
And I also don't have the time to continue to explain this to you. I'm sorry, I actually have work to do.
Because unless...
I can't
even talk on it because I'm just like,
literally,
you paying a check,
I gotta go.
Explaining what I do.
Exactly.
Because you're fucking up the money.
What's the conversation in the boardrooms? Because you've both been in huge boardrooms that are majorly not our, demographic. So, what does that look like when you're bringing Black-owned business brand or an influencer who has traveled to 185 countries and you're trying to fight.
We're not a part of the conversation
in the boardroom. And I can say this, you deal more so with influencer marketing, but as a publicist, sometimes I am like told to find 3 influencers or 5 influencers for this campaign. And I will present the influencers, and they're like, oh, we don't know this girl. I'm like, are you serious? Well, she has 2.5 million followers, so her engagement is incredible. Like Black women, Black influencers, we're just not a part of the conversation. So Ernest and I are tasked with presenting these clients.
And going to bat.
Yeah.
And fighting for them and like explaining like, okay, so look at the client that you presented. She has 1.2 million followers. Her engagement is trash. This girl has 2.3 million followers. She's on TikTok. She's on Reels. Her content is great. And you don't like what? Why would you want to choose the Caucasian girl over the Black girl? Help me understand. So I'm fighting for these brown and women of color content creators. So we're just not a part of the conversation in the boardroom.
And I think we're not a part of it because I think Instagram and social has glamorized this idea of being your own boss, right? Don't leave your job. If you're listening to Shade, to content, and if
you don't have to, don't do it.
Are working a bomb ass 9 to 5, you are in a position
stable
of power.
stable cool.
Stay there. If entrepreneurship is not your ministry, stay at that job because eventually you're going to be the CMO. Eventually you're going to be the director of brand engagement.
Especially
director
now.
of marketing. And so when you think about that, when you think about the person that's controlling a budget, the person controlling a budget is going to want people that look like them. So if every Black person is like, I'm going to be my own boss, fuck it, I'm going to build my own
Who's
table.
left to fight for us?
Sit at that table, please.
Yes.
And fight for us. But what I need you to do, I think the conversation needs to be sit at that table, but don't close the door on other people because there are still people that have this, I'm going to be the only one. I'm going to be the token one. No, there's strength in numbers. Because if 2 Black women say, this woman is influential on social, out of 3 white people, a team of 5,
they're going to listen.
The odds are in their favor. Then you bring up another assistant. Now we got 3 to 3. What are we talking about? Now there's a conversation around, oh, this must really be a thing. But if it's one person, you're tokenizing that person's experience.
That's real. They don't
listen. Ernest gives you the tea.
I'm just gonna give you the real because people aren't telling you, you know what I mean. People are not telling you that at the end of the day, Nikki and her agency, why you should hire a Black PR agency versus some like traditional, household name. You understand the power of Black culture and how we literally move industries forward. Why are we not standing firm in? This is what time it is, and if you're not on that, I'm not rocking with it.
Okay, so with that, I would love to hear who some of you all's favorite influencers are or brands are right now. And it doesn't have to be a client. I'm just curious kind of, and I think also this question is, I would love to go into kind of the trends that you see for 2021. Like, where are we going? We're a year into a pandemic. The world's different. People are promoting vaccines. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
like, the world has changed. Like, I want to know who y'all checking for and what you guys are forecasting.
Well, right now, I love Monroe Steele. I've been following her for years.
Okay.
She's a whole vibe. And I think, I kind of gravitate to influencers that I've been following for years, like since 2009, 10, 11.
Right.
Monroe Steele, she is consistent. She is fabulous. I've seen the growth in her content. I love Maddie James. I think she's amazing, especially because I'm in the motherhood space. And she also teaches influencers how to monetize. Definitely here for her. The Lizzie O. I just was introduced to her this year through Jessica Shinleyu. She's the sponsorship lady or sponsorship doctor. But Lizzie O, she is a disabled influencer. She was in a car accident, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. But she has not let that stop her from pursuing her dreams. She has 2 children. And when I tell you that she gets partnerships, the content is fabulous. Chriselle Lim, I mean, she's one of the GOATs. She's OG, but she's very consistent and very elevated in luxury. I love her. I love Scout Fashion because if I'm being honest, I feel like if I was going to be an influencer, I would be her.
I would be her,
I would be her. Like me and Fancy Faye and Nick, we would be on our Scout Fashion. So I'm into her. There are so many. But those are just a few off the top of my head.
I think for me, I really look at brands that kind of lead conversations and shift. So Beats with their whole "you love black people, but do you love the black culture, but do you love black people?"
Yes.
Like that campaign to me was like, I'm like, right, like this is the shit I'm talking about right here. You know, the singer Tobey. And like,
oh my gosh, she's like, amazing. Oh,
Very impactful.
The fact that he can have this career now, you know, after everything that we've gone through from like the marginalization, which we've always been marginalized, but just like the amplification of it, of social media. I think I love anybody that uses their voice to stand up to some fuck shit. You know,
Chica, I love Chica too.
Yes, like I love Chica. I love anybody with a very powerful voice. Like I follow a lot of like you know the Brittany Packett's and you know Abby Phillips of CNN. Like those type of people.
Yes,
Abby Phillips is from Prince George's County, Maryland.
Yes,
just want to put that out there.
County. Yes, but like people that show up in white spaces and are bravely themselves. You know, like Amani Ellis of Culture Con. Like those people that create those brave spaces. Those are the people that actually are influencing societal change. And I'm not saying that my clients don't do that. When you think about, when you look at the totality of what we're talking about, people that exist in traditionally, consistently white spaces and are bravely like champion and promoting black experiences, those are the people that I'm following. Because I want to know like, what innately is in you to show up and bravely demand change? Because when they get the change that they're demanding, my clients benefit from that. I benefit from that.
Yep. Say that.
Wow. Let's talk money, right? So I was actually just on Influencer Pay Gap, right? Because I follow that page. Obviously, having a content space and you have influencers come through, right? The money conversation happens often.